This is the Pilot's News Briefing Podcast. I'm Frank Daniels. With me today is Jonathan Bym from the Pilot's Newsroom, bringing us the latest news in Moore County. And this is something we spoke about. We've spoken about in certain circles.
Yeah.
I don't know if you and I have spoken about it.
Possibly. I don't know. It's been an ongoing story since, back in the spring, or back last spring. So it's been spring, early summer.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been around June, graduation time. It's about the Union Pines athletic field getting artificial turf. So this has been an ongoing. So at first the county decided, hey, we've got $1.2 million in bond interest that we can give to Union Pines and Pinecrest, or Union Pines and Northmore, to be split evenly. That's about $600,000 going to each school. This project will cost about $1.2 million to do artificial turf on one football field, one athletic field. It shouldn't say football because soccer, lacrosse, band uses those fields. And then the other half of it was supposed to be recouped by the CVB, the Aberdeen Southern Pines Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. Was supposed to, so the county, the school system took that money and said, okay, we've got to get a match for it. Reached out to the CVB. The CVB went through their one-time project fund, which was overwhelmed with applicants, and basically everybody was getting some sort of money, but nobody was really getting a full amount, including the schools. Schools received $120,000. So,
yeah, and I've spoken about this with I think Anna and I, or Elena and I spoke about it on the podcast about a month ago.
Yes, that's where we were at up until last night. Last night, the county commissioners said, school system, you have $480,000 of lapsed salary on SROs for the school resource officers, and said use that to finish off paying for the track or the turf at Union Pines football field, which is currently in the RFQ, which the bidding process is going on right now for that. So that's where we're sort of sitting, that the county for the second time has said, here, use this money for this, which the county, and then there was a quote from Nick Pacerno, the chairman of the board last night. I was like, we really don't tell the board or tell the schools how to spend their money, but the fact that there's that kind of money laying around, because a couple of years ago, the county said, okay, we're going to fund for 13 more SRO positions, and those positions never got really filled. So what are y'all doing with that money?
Yeah,
that's where we're sort of at right now with that.
I thought it was a fairly logical argument, or a statement that Commissioner Pacerno made that said, hey, we allocated this money for additional SRO positions. They haven't been filled, so that money should be available if it hasn't been used, even though, as you say, they don't tell them how to spend it, but that's what it was allocated for.
And where that was a last night meeting, so Tuesday, Monday night or Monday afternoon, there was a school security meeting, or a school security committee meeting. One of is basically they're trying to figure out what they can do to sort of supplement what the SRO, the Moore County Schools Police, is doing. And so they talked with the sheriff's office about using off-duty deputies, and that price tag is going to come out about $55 an hour to have a deputy on one of the campuses, or on some of the campuses, and that's per officer. That's a very limited amount, because there's only so much like side work that these sheriff's deputies can take. But still, they were planning on using some of that lap salary, or all of it. I'm not sure if they weren't sure, but they knew that pot of money with the lap salaries was going to be used for paying the for paying the sheriff's deputies to help out with the Moore County Schools Police. So it's sort of funny how in 24 hours, I don't know if that was never disseminated to the county commissioners, or the county commissioner said, well, you still have more, you can still cover that and then some. That's where we're sort of at. It's a developing story. I'm going to talk with the schools hopefully today to sort of get a rundown of what they do have available in lap salary that can pay for, because they basically, in what Nick Pacerno's motion after everything passed, he sort of said, look, if y'all come back and say we don't have that money, there's threats that the state auditor's office might be brought in for a performance audit of the schools, because they were using money that was put for something that hasn't been used, or they used it for another thing. So that's where last night was sort of, it was an agenda item that came on right early on in the meeting. They said, let's add on this. Nick Pacerno said, let's add this to in new business, this item about the schools. And Union Pines turf and SROs, all that stuff. That was brought up Tuesday, like right there early in the meeting. I was informed about it right before the meeting.
Okay. And then, so they voted on it during the new business segment.
Yeah,
of
it was
the
just
meeting?
basically, it was like them just saying, hey, we are in a solidarity telling the schools, do this, spend the money this way.
Okay.
And which is, I mean, they're just saying, hey, this is the money that we gave y'all for SROs. If it's not being used that way, it needs to be going to this. If it's going to be used for that, I'm not sure if they were aware about the whole the sheriff's office, which that is still if that's an option they use with the sheriff's office's off-duty deputies. That can obviously, I think that warrants them not being able to pay for Union Pines turf if it's being used for a certain thing.
Right, which seems, even though it's not more additional officers
it's school
hired,
security, yeah.
It is school security, which I think, as you say, it's aligned with what the money is allocated for. And just as a reminder as well, the school board budget is allocated out of county funds, so that's why this whole thing is kind of in line with what the normal appropriations process would be.
So, the RFQ, the bidding option, that right now what the schedule put out on the school's website says that right now, I guess it's today, right now, they're doing interviews with the contractors that can do the project. January 8th, they had a site visit where contractors go out there, look at the field and see what they could do in terms of artificial turf. And then by this Friday, there's supposed to be an award notice giving, but that award of a contract still has to go to the Moore County Schools Board to be approved.
Okay.
So that's where we're at right now with the turf field. Plan is to have it started by the day after graduation, June 15th, 2026, and by August 15th, be good to go for athletics to be played on the field at Union Pines, and the same schedule for next year for Northmore.
Oh, okay.
But that's a ways to go, because we now see that the CVB is not probably won't be doing the one-time project fund again. Where's that other $600K coming from for the other half of Northmore's project next year? But that's a story to be told next time.
Yeah. So, right, as you say, the $485,000 or whatever would be on top of the $120,000 that was awarded for the CVB, and so that would then
get
match
you to
the
$1.2
that the commissioners promised for the project.
Yeah, so that gets you up to $1.2 million.
But Northmore doesn't have access to that $120,000. I guess ostensibly. No. According to the way that the CVB
CVB, I think it was for Union Pines, so that's where.
Right.
So
and as you say, they've announced that they're not going to do another project fund. So, it all kind of remains up in the air for the Northmore, and still we'll see what how this plays out between the commissioners and the school board. So, if you have questions, of course, Jonathan will continue to report on the story, but if you have questions for him about the story that's up now, after you read it, you can send an email to jonathan@thepilot.com. That's JONATHAN @thepilot.com. And if you have other questions about the podcast, you can send them to me, to frank@thepilot.com, FRANK @thepilot.com. And that's the latest news in Moore County.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.